There's so many. Beer butter bread, beer bread, beer peanut butter bread. You know, you can go way off on that end, or you could just do the simple Italian focaccia. You know, we have the ciabatta, French bread. I like. There's all different styles. So there's really nothing. It just depends on what you're using it for.
Executive pastry chef Gregory Smith knows his bread. He can make over 100 kinds. It all started when he was a youngster, partly because he loved making it, and partly out of necessity.
So growing up like that, my mom was working all the time. She worked full time, went to school full time, but she had 4 kids, including myself. And so you just find things to make. Sometimes there wasn't much to make, and that's where flour and water came in. I'm like, yeah, put this and a little bit of butter on there, and then I'm okay.
Just his mom and 3 other siblings made for some tough times, and that's when Greg joined the restaurant industry.
There's a family, there's a camaraderie that you get in a restaurant, just like you do outside of it with your family. So it's like an extension to my family. And so from there, it just expanded, and I got to eat, you know, so it was just a love of food. Went into culinary, did that for 15 years. And so every position, everything in a restaurant, you know, from bartending, from waiting tables, hosting, cooking, baking. So you name it, I've done the position.
But his love for breads never went away, and in fact, expanded like this dough. He's owned a shop in Pittsburgh. He's worked at the most exclusive country club in Arizona, and now right here in the Valley. Chef Greg takes his bread very seriously.
The thing about breads is kind of like, okay, if you make a cake, you're making a cake and you're putting it together, and in that process of putting everything together, you're waiting for the final outcome, you know, whether you're giving it to somebody or for you to eat it. The bread is the same thing for me, and it's something very simple, but it dates back how many thousand years back. So what I found is that it's just the process of, you don't get to have it immediate satisfaction. So you have to wait for it, and you have to wait, you have to time it, the weather's involved, you know, your kitchen's involved, what equipment you have, and what type of bread that you can make. And so from there, it's a live product, it's living, you know, and as it rises and does its thing, you know, you're gonna basically kill it in the oven. You know, but you stop it, but it still has now a whole new existence.
And since his existence here, he has noticed the Valley's love for bread.
So it's your base, you know, sandwiches, something for just pasta to put along with it, you know, whatever you want to do with it.
Now he's in charge of baking all the different breads for 4 country club locations and the Grand Resort daily, and getting all the loaves distributed daily, which presents certain issues.
Keeping my sanity.
Yeah.
So, but basically making sure it's just organized. We have the products, it's going in and out at the time that you need it, managing your time well. You know, once it starts, if you're doing bread, once it starts, you don't have a time to back it off. You can't really slow it down. There's things that I can do to tweak it, change it, you know, if I want it to rise at a slower rate, if I wanted to speed up, those kind of things I know. But for the most part, you want to let it just do its thing and take its time.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people rush it and it's just not worth it. You know?
This bread is worth it and worth the trip. Like most of us, he's a bread guy that's proud of his craft, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
One of the things that I've always been amazed at is that it's a very low cost item, but people pay a lot of money for it. I'm a big crust guy. I love crust. Don't care for the inside as much, you know, whereas other people love the inside and they throw the crust away. But that caramelization, that what's happening on the outside of that bread is really where the life to me is. And so I like thick crust, I like thin ones, there's all different types, and something hearty, something you gotta grab and hold and chew, you know.